Guess who's back? That's right, it's Cheese, the Bungie Fanboy Slayer. And today we are dropping into a discussion that might ruffle some more feathers. We will be talking about Bungie's red-headed stepchild, Halo 3 ODST. Now, I know a few of you are already typing mean comments down there, but hear me out. Here's why I think ODST is an overhyped game that doesn't quite deserve the pedestal it's often placed on. First off, let's talk about the campaign. One of the biggest problems with ODST was its length. For a game that was initially pitched as an expansion but then released at full price, you'd expect something a little more substantial. But what we got was a campaign that you could breeze through in about 6 hours, maybe less if you're a seasoned Halo player. All for the price of $60. Compare this to other games at the time, or even within the Halo series itself, and you start to see why this might feel like a bit of a scam. ODST tried something different with its detective-like open-world exploration in New Mombasa. While this was a fresh take, it often felt empty and repetitive. The atmosphere was indeed moody and different from the usual Halo space opera experience, but wandering around in the dark with not much to do except for finding audio logs didn't exactly scream innovative gameplay. It was more like a prolonged scavenger hunt with occasional firefights. Apparently, this game is known for its stealth. Yet the silenced pistol isn't even silenced. It alerts enemies nearby. How misleading. How the hell can people take this game seriously? Don't even get me started on how dark the game is. You can't see anything in this game. I had to turn my brightness up because Bungie refused to bring back the flashlight mechanic from, the previous games. The gameplay feels like a less fun version of Halo 3. The troopers throw frag grenades like girls, and I find it ridiculous that a normal soldier like an ODST trooper can do things like punch a brute and even hijack vehicles. If Bungie was smart, they would have nerfed the ODST's abilities, but instead, I just feel like a much lamer version of a Spartan. I really hope that 343 makes an ODST 2 and does it correctly. Here's where things get even trickier. ODST promised a more personal story, focusing on a squad of human characters rather than the legendary Master Chief. However, the characters felt underdeveloped. There wasn't enough meat to make me care as much as I should have. They were soldiers with little to distinguish themselves in a universe with more compelling figures. Everybody loves talking about how great Gunnery Sergeant Buck is, but personally, I think people only like him because of his voice actor. And honestly, Nathan is overrated as well. In fact, his only good role in his entire career was playing Caleb in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
More importantly, why would you want to get in his way?
I guess I'm just ornery.
The rest of the squad isn't even memorable. I can't even remember any of their names, honestly. All I know is they all had horrible face models. Ew. Next up, multiplayer. Oh wait, ODST didn't bring its own multiplayer to the table. Instead, it packaged all the Halo 3 multiplayer maps, including those from DLCs, which I guess was great for those who didn't already own them. But for everyone else, it felt like paying again for something you already had. Firefight mode was indeed decent, but it alone couldn't carry the entire multiplayer experience. Firefight gets mind-numbingly boring fast. Innovation is where ODST could have shined, but arguably didn't. The narrative structure was different, but not something Halo needed. When you look at other games around that era pushing boundaries in storytelling, mechanics, and technology, ODST feels like it played it safe under the guise of doing something different. I just get the feeling that Bungie desperately wanted to push this game out as fast as they could, so that Microsoft would allow them to be free from Halo. Let's not forget that ODST in itself is an entire retcon. In Halo 2, when the Prophet of Regret's carrier jumps through slipspace, it destroys the entire city of New Mombasa. But Bungie said screw that, we need to release a half-assed game, so now it's an EMP blast, guys. Meanwhile, in the opening cutscene of Delta Halo in Halo 2, you can clearly see buildings and wreckage from New Mombasa following through the slipspace portal. To wrap this up, ODST is a mediocre game. It has its moments, and the soundtrack is actually pretty good, truly capturing the isolation and mystery. However, when you take off the weighted nostalgia blanket, the game's shortcomings become apparent. It was priced like a full game. but feels like a lackluster DLC for Halo 3 at best. The love it gets often seems more rooted in the novelty of its vibes, and less in its execution or lasting impact on the series or genre. To me, anyone who acts like ODST is the greatest thing since sliced bread is probably someone who didn't actually play it back in the day. I believe these folks are all just Master Chief Collection babies. If you're wondering why this video is so short compared to my last video, well, let's just say that I wanted to emulate the shortness of ODST's campaign. The difference is, unlike Bungie, I take time with my projects and ensure they are finished, rather than rush them out of the door. So, mission accomplished. That's why I believe ODST is riding on a wave of nostalgia rather than standing on its own merits. What was Bungie thinking? Why would I want to play as some normal-ass trooper instead of a Spartan? If you think ODST actually stands tall next to the other Halo games, then you're a fan.